Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today, we will look into how you can use WEkEO data to study land use and land use change. My name is Andreia Carvalho. I'm a training officer at Mercator International, and I'll be your host for today. So before we start with the content of this webinar, we will go through some house rules and how we can better enjoy this webinar. So let me just give you some few guidelines. So if you're connecting and you're following this live, you probably noticed that you have to access the audio on your bottom left corner. You had to activate it. If you haven't done it yet, you're seeing this slide and you probably realize that you have to do it. Also, there's a chat tab on your right-hand side of this live streaming area. Where you will be able to post some comments or small questions if you want. If you have any technical issues, you can also use this chat for that. But we do recommend you to use the Q&A section that you will see at the top of your page. There's going to be a bar where you're going to see Q&A, and please use this Q&A section for any questions related to any presentations we're going to do today to any of our speakers. And in the same area, you will also find the survey that we will share with you at the end. We really appreciate your feedback on our sessions. So yes, more on this later on. And now I will introduce you to the agenda, the program we have for today. As I said, we will be looking into what WEkEO can provide in terms of land monitoring studies. So as I said, I will be your host for today, and I will also give you a short overview of the WEkEO service and the products you can find. And then we will have three very interesting use cases. So three examples, practical examples on how you can use WEkEO data to study land changes, agricultural land, urban projects, and so on. So we will have David Parastatidis from the Remote Sensing Lab. We will have Francesco Vuolo, a senior scientist and representing the project BOCU, and David Garcia Alvarez from who's an assistant professor at the University of Complutense in Madrid. Okay, and now we can jump right through what is Copernicus service, and so the WEkEO, what is WEkEO service? So WEkEO is a GIS, or a data and information access service. It was basically created to facilitate the access to Copernicus and Sentinel environmental data. In WEkEO, what we offer in WEkEO is, as I said, a facilitated access to environmental data, but also cloud infrastructure and very complete user support. WEkEO is operated by the different entities that are entitled to manage the different Copernicus services. If you haven't heard of Copernicus, it's a European Union's program dedicated to Earth observation and to monitor the Earth. We have different entities that are responsible for the different services. We have 6 services in total. The land, the climate change, the emergency monitoring service, the atmosphere, and the Copernicus Marine Service. And besides, we also have some Sentinel missions, or Sentinel are the satellites that provide the data that you can find in Copernicus, and they also have some missions which data you can also find in WEkEO. So how can you access WEkEO? Through its website. WEkEO.eu, you will be able to find a catalog with products. You will find more information on computing resources. You can find use cases. You can have a list, as probably you have explored it already, on how to access the events that we organize and many other materials I will be mentioning to you later on. So the three main points of WEkEO and why is it an advantage is that it provides direct access to the Copernicus, all the Copernicus services data, which is directly linked to the original sources. So it is not a copy. And this access is also harmonized. That means that facilitates some programming or an analysis that you might need to do. Might need to do with that data. Besides that, there's also a user support, very active user support, which you can always contact and ask any questions you have related to the data, to accessing the data, etc. So as it is the case for any Copernicus delivered data, the access to WEkEO is also free. The access to data, to download the data is also free of charge. It's open source data, environmental data, which we provide. And we also provide free access to e-learning materials, which are in a format of, for example, Jupyter notebooks and etc. And then we provide a section that if you're, for example, more experienced and you would like some computing power, that is a part that we apply a cost to it. And but for the rest, to visualize, to access the data, that remains free and open to everyone. As I said, you also have access to a Jupyter lab. So if you have heard of the Jupyter and Jupyter notebooks, this is a nice way for you to learn how to use the data, how to do basic analysis and kind of track your evolution, because we share it through this Jupyter environment. And you can learn a lot through this platform. So for that, you can also access our Jupyter Notebook gallery, which you will find a lot of Jupyter notebooks already developed in different, focusing on different services or the use of data from different services. So as I said, you also have access to virtual machines. I will not go into that much today. And so don't hesitate if you have any questions related to any data. Yes, it's very easy to contact the user support. You can either do it via email or through the help center that you will find on the website very easily. And now in terms of the products you can find, what is provided in WEkEO, I will go through a short overview of what you can find in there. So as I said, you will find data related to or coming from the 6 different Copernicus services and also satellite missions. For example, if we start with the first one, the Copernicus Marine Service is operated by Mercator Ocean International. And the goal of this service is to monitor the marine environment. So you will find data related to the blue, what we call the blue, the green, and the white ocean. So the blue ocean would be more the physical properties of the ocean. So things like temperature, salinity, currents, waves. Green ocean would be more the biogeochemistry component. So nutrients, carbon, plankton, phytoplankton, and so on. And the white ocean would be the ice concentration, ice thickness, ice temperature. The Copernicus Marine Service provides different types of data. So data coming from in situ, so direct measurements, but also satellite observations. And then they also use this data, these 2 types of data, to validate some models and improve the estimates and produce forecasts into 10 days into the future. And in terms of geographical coverage, it covers not only Europe, so the different basins, as you can see in this slide, Arctic, the Baltic, the Northwest Shelf, the Iberia, Biscay and Irish Seas, the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea, but also the global ocean. So in terms of data we provide, you can have satellite, as I said, satellite observations, L3 and L4 levels, in situ data that are can be collected from different vessels. You have research vessels, but also buoys, Argo floats, etc. And then this is all assimilated or injected into numerical models, which help us to have a clearer idea of a 3D component. If we go to, if now we go and talk about the climate change and atmosphere monitoring service, and also the emergency management service, which are all operated by ECMWF. So if we talk about the climate change service, the goal is to monitor the climate in the past, in the present, and the future. It also provides data in situ, type of data, satellite and models, and they range from different temporal and geographical coverage. Here you have just a few examples of the variables you can find from each type of data. And also, these direct observations are used also to produce reanalysis, forecasts, and even projections in very long term, normally in many years in the future. For the atmosphere monitoring service, so the goal is to monitor, for example, the air quality, the solar energy, and the role of the atmospheric gases and particles. Again, they also provide in situ satellite and model data with using different sorts of instruments and different techniques. For the emergency management service, sorry about that. For the emergency management service, the goal is to monitor man-made and also natural disasters, and create alert systems to better mitigate impacts in society. So in WEkEO, well, so as you can see, there are two main different types of data that you can find in the emergency management service: on-demand mapping and early warning and monitoring. However, on WEkEO, you will only find data related to floods forecasting and fire. So the study of the impacts of fires and near real-time fire activity. Related to the floods, you will find data related to river discharge, for example, at different geographical coverages, as you can see, and also temporal coverages. In terms of fire dangers, you will see, you will find parameters such as the burning index, danger rating, fire danger index, fire weather index, initial spread index. And now maybe the service we will hear most about today is the Copernicus Land Service, operated by the European Environment Agency, which goal is to provide geographic data on the monitoring of the land surface. So the main products you can find that are provided by the land monitoring service are related to vegetation, energy, water, the cryosphere, or the frozen parts of the earth, and hotspots, which are key areas that are considered with a high risk on the globe and ground-based. So in terms of vegetation, these are just a few examples. You can find vegetation properties, vegetation indexes, dry matter productivity, burn area. In terms of energy, you can find land surface temperature, surface albedo, top of canopy reflectances, which, for example, in this case, they represent the energy that, or the sunlight that is reflected by the surface of the Earth. In terms of water products, you can find lake surface water temperature, lake water quality, water bodies, water level. In terms of ice, you can find lake ice extent, snow cover extent, snow water equivalent. Hotspots, there are also some information related to different areas of the globe. So urban, river areas, Natura 2000, which include more ecosystem classifications, natural biological classifications, and coastal zones, and ground-based at a global and European level. So in this case, it provides multiple years of high quality in situ measurements which were used to validate geospatial land products and products like land cover and land cover use from also other satellite products. And then at last, we have the Sentinel missions, which are operated by EUMETSAT. And there are a few satellites active and that are constantly providing data for all the Copernicus services, and that you can find as well in WEkEO. I will not go too much into this part, but just to let you know that you have Sentinel-1, which is, you can use the data provided by Sentinel-1 for example, monitoring sea ice and icebergs, river and lake monitoring, support on emergency management such as floods and earthquakes. So you will see the applications are quite varied. The Sentinel-2 can use it in agriculture, land ecosystems monitoring, forests and management. Yes, and Sentinel-3, which provides not only ocean color, but also sea level data. So you can see type of applications are measuring sea and lake surface topography, sea and land surface temperature, but also sea ice and land ice elevation, and ocean and land surface. And at last, Sentinel-6, where types of applications that have been used are, for example, on ocean currents, wind speed, and wave height. And yes, I think that's all on the types of products you can find in WEkEO. This was a very short overview. We will hear a little bit more about the products that you can find through our use cases. And so first, I will introduce, so don't hesitate if you have any questions. Later on, we will address the Q&A moment for that. And